Hello everyone, my name is Shravan Sen and I play the sitar. Now, the sitar is an Indian classical instrument. It was established in the Indian subcontinent by the eminent Indian philosopher Amir Khusro. And although Amir Khusro invented the sitar in the Indian subcontinent, we all know that he received a lot of influences from the Middle East. I mean, he's one of the greatest philosophers in Indian history, but a lot of his influences came from the Middle East. A lot of his poetry, his compositions, in general, his contribution to the arts actually got a lot of origins from the Middle East. So today, basically, I'll be trying to explore the relationship between Persian or Irani classical music and Indian classical music. So I'll basically try to play on the sitar a small rendition of a common Persian melody, and right after that I'll play a similar melody in Indian classical music for all of you to see the similarities and differences between the two forms of music. So here we'll get started. First I will start with a very popular melody of Persian classical music. I'll play it on the sitar. So that's a very common melody in Persian classical music. And now I will play a similar melody in Indian classical music, so all of you can see the similarities in between the two melodies. But obviously there will be some key differences as well, which will become obvious as soon as I play the Indian counterpart of this melody. So the Indian version would sound something like this. So I just played side by side first the Persian melody and then second a very similar melody in Indian classical music. So obviously you guys can see the similarities and differences of what I just played. Now to end this, basically I'll play a specific raga in Indian classical music. By the way, raga is a melodic form in Indian classical music. There are several ragas, meaning that there are several melodic forms in Indian classical music. So I'll play one specific raga, which actually is known to have Persian origins. I mean, this raga is called Rag Yaman. It's the most fundamental Indian classical raga out there, and this raga is known to have Persian influences. So this raga is a blend, basically. I mean, it has a lot of influences from the Vedics, the Hindu Vedics, but it also has a lot of influences from Persian classical music, and together the two, I guess, from the ancient Indian music and Persian classical music combine to form this beautiful raga, which is the most fundamental Indian raga called Rag Yaman. So I'll just play a short rendition of Rag Yaman. Once again, this was a very small rendition of Rag Yaman, which is known to have Persian origin. Rag Yaman is one of the most fundamental Indian ragas, or Indian melodic forms of all classical compositions, and actually a lot of modern compositions in India as well are based on this particular melody that I just played. The basic structure of the melody goes like this. So that's the basic scale. And you can basically play around with this as much as you want. And this melody is actually known to have a lot of influences from Persia. A lot of Persian classical compositions, for those of you who are into Iranian or Persian classical compositions, will find that a lot of the melodies in that type of classical music will actually be very similar to Rag Yaman, and that is because Rag Yaman has a lot of Persian influences. So thank you for joining me. Hopefully now you can have a brief understanding. Obviously the relationship between the two forms of music is so extensive that a small video like this cannot cover all the relationships and the similarities and differences between the two music, but I just wanted to give a small little glimpse of how the two forms of music, Persian classical music and Indian classical music, are related. and hopefully you've enjoyed it, and thank you so much for your time.